Hello students, this is Dr. Mary Nipa. So in our Python class, for our Python class, so we're just going to see about object-oriented approach in Python. How we are going to use object-oriented approach in Python. So far we have seen lot of concepts, lot of programming styles in procedural language. So how do we use a procedural language style that we have seen? Okay, so we have programmed everything, lot of things. So this object-oriented concept we deal in C++, Java, and object-oriented languages. Okay, but when you take a Python, Python is a multi-paradigm language. That means here we can do coding using normal procedural language, as well as we can go for coding with object oriented programming language. So it is a multi paradigm programming language, so which uses which uses both object oriented approach as well as procedural approach. Not only these two approaches, Python also supports other approaches like functional programming, declarative programming, scripting programming. So for your syllabus you have procedural language as well as object oriented language. So Python, we always consider it as a multi-paradigm programming language because it supports more than one programming style or paradigm. So a programming paradigm is a way of thinking about and approaching problems in programming. That is programming style. Okay. So the main programming paradigms that Python supports include procedural programming, object-oriented programming, functional programming, declarative programming, scripting. All these are name a few. So out of that, so far whatever coding we have done in our classes or under procedural programming. So now I'm just from this lecture, 2 3 lectures. So this is last module of your class. Actually, these few lectures we'll be seeing object oriented programming. So here you have some flexibility to use multiple programming paradigms in Python, so which is versatile and which is suitable for wide range of applications. So developers can choose the paradigm so that best fits the problem at hand. So we can just go for the coding, so that is expressive, which is readable, which is efficient. Okay, so this there is this advantage. So it is contributing to Python's popularity, as well as it is widely used in various domains using web development, including data science, machine learning, and more. Okay, so here, so we'll see about today object oriented programming approach. So first of all, what is OOPS in Python? So it is, as I said before, so you have classes and objects. So classes and objects means that have data fields. That means you have datas and associated methods. So here what I call it as attributes are called as datas. Okay, and what I call it as methods are called nothing but functions. So just in OOPS concept when you write, so it has some class. So that class includes two things. One is the object, that is one is the attribute, that is the data, and the other one is the method. Okay. So what is the main concept behind this OOPS? So we are just going to bind the data and functions into a single entity or single unit, so that other part of the code can also access this data. So far we were writing codes in a continuous manner, right, sequential manner, right? So we may be writing functions, and the other part we may be printing something else. So one part may be working, other part may not be working, other there is no link, proper link. But when you come with classes and objects, so you have some proper link in a linking style in Python. Okay, so it is, as I said before, it is a multi-paradigm approach. So we can here by using these classes, we can reduce the complexity as well. Okay, so we can reduce the complexity in analysis because we are putting everything in one single entity, so it reduces the complexity as well. So so we have seen, so an object has a class is but the whole thing, and object is nothing but it is a blueprint of the class. Okay, so two important things play very important role, or classes as well as objects. So an object have two characteristics, one is the attribute and the other one is the behavior. So let's take some examples to define what is the correctly say the what do you mean by class and an object. So as you said, like so if you pass a questionnaire, okay, so that questionnaire, an instant is like a form that you have filled out with information. Just like many people can fill out the same form with their own unique information, you can create many instant from a single class. Okay, so a class is nothing but if you have 60 students in a class means that is called a class. So if one student is taking the representative position and he is doing all the task on behalf of all 60, then he act like an object. So similarly, any student can be a representative and any student can do the task of all these things. Okay, so you can have n number of objects in it. So this is the correct thing of class and object, and we have some differences between object oriented approach as well as procedural approach. Object oriented approach is always bottom up approach. That means we'll define it and we can access, we'll keep it in some modules and we can access it from anywhere. But procedural oriented programming means top down approach. We have to come from the top and we have to go step by step. And in object oriented program, we will divide the program into objects because we call the function using object. We call the methods are called as functions. Okay, method using object, we call the attributes or the data as objects. So please remember these two things. What do you mean by data? Data is nothing but it is called as attributes, and what you called as function, it is nothing but we call it as method. Okay, but if you take a procedural oriented language, a program is always divided into lot of functions. Okay, and in object oriented programming language you have access specifiers. That means public, private, protected. So if you want to close something, if you want to put it just that is, if you want to make some confidential things, you can make the access specifier to be private. So if you want to give the information to other class, you can take it as protected or public. But in procedural oriented language we don't have any access specifiers, and you will learn this access specifier in detail in C++. Okay, and object oriented programming language is more secure when compared to other language. Object oriented programming language is more secure than procedural concept. Okay, so here we can use objects to do everything. And in object oriented programming language you have lot of features like inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation. So all these things we'll see one by one. Okay, so these are the features, that is classes, objects, polymorphism, encapsulation, inheritance, data abstraction. These are very important features. Okay, so in any object oriented programming language, we have these features. Since Python is also adopting object oriented programming language, we have all these features in Python as well. So here we are going to see one by one. So in today's lecture, we are going to see only about classes and objects alone. Okay. So first we'll start with a class. What is a class? So we normally define everything inside a collection or an entity. So that is called as a class. So that sometimes we call it as a blueprint of an object. Class and object are interrelated. Okay, so a class, it is a collection of objects and it has two important things inside, as I said before. One is the attribute and the other is the method. Attribute is nothing but it is called as the variables, and method is nothing but the function. Variables is nothing but data. Okay, so it is used to create a complete data structure. So if you want to create a complete data structure, if you want to organize it properly, we can go with the Python class. Okay, so it is a blueprint of an object, and we call the object also as an instance. In some case we call it as instance. And definition, so when you go with a class, so we normally create a class with a keyword class. Okay, we in small letter we use the keyword class, class. And attributes are always public. That means data are always made as public, and it can be accessed only by the dot operator. Okay, we'll see the syntax of the class. How do we create the class? So it is class followed by class name. the class name is user defined. You can give any names, okay, followed by colon, and you can have a number of statements. So the statement may have an initializer, maybe attributes. Attributes means what? Datas. Okay. Methods means functions. Then you can have a number of statements. So please ensure the indent. So after the class keyword, you have to give four indent, four spacing. Okay. So then you can list out the things. In Python there is no opening brace and closing brace, you all know that. So it's actually the intent decides whether it is inside the block or outside the block. Okay. So now, so how can you create a class? So this is a Python demo. So in the next class I'll show you how to create the programs, okay, in Python compiler, Google Colab, you can see. So before that, you just to see how to create an empty class. So it is followed by class keyword and followed by the class name. Okay, so we are using class keyword followed by the class name and just giving pass. So I already told in the class what is pass. Pass means just I'm declaring a class. It's so not, it's doing nothing. Okay, so afterwards if I want to edit it, I can edit it. So in that case I can give it as pass. Then, so if you want to create an object for the same class name, if you want to create an object, you have to assign the class name to an object name. Then that object name is the called as the object. Using that object name, you can access the attributes as well as the